I hope you are all fine and healthy in these challenging times. I come from, as Elena mentioned, from IBM. I work in Southeast Europe. I'm based in Serbia. And I cover this data and AI part of IBM wide portfolio of products. And idea of today's presentation will be actually to show where IBM is going in this data and AI world, and how do we see future, and how we are at the moment ready and preparing for the things to come. And if we look for just try again. Sorry now. Okay, let me just try again to share. Screen. Okay, now will be, I think, better. Okay, hope you are seeing my presentation.
Yes, Nina, it's okay. We can see your presentation. It's full screen.
Yeah, sorry, because I didn't share entire screen.
Okay,
I couldn't.
great.
Okay, so we are definitely living in a changed times, in changed reality. So 90s were all about products. 2000 we introduced the services and everything was involved about that. And it's about 2010 when we started really talking, and everything was about putting customer in the center of everything, and everyone was talking and working on digital transformation. And 2020s are really turnover in everything we thought we knew to do, and we entered this new crisis, but still we believe that what we envisioned, that 20s will be all about data centric, will not change, and this will be, let's say, the main focus of every enterprise today and company. And since we know that everything is about the data, so how we were dealing with that so far? So far we were trying to take, let's say, the best in class product for every single part of this data journey. So whether we wanted front-end tools like analytics, like BI, like data science, open source, so various tools for end users, whether we were investing in the best data warehouse platforms, whether we were connected to various cloud solutions, and then we actually also maybe invested in some big data platform, in various new, let's say, vendors that come up in this data storing, managing data warehouse world. But what actually happened is that we started spending too much time in integrating all this stuff, trying to make everything work. But not just that, we actually, during the time, see that this type of architecture is not actually sustainable, that it doesn't bring us the value at the fast that we need to have. And it's actually really not the most optimal configuration in these now very challenging times that we are facing. So as a result of this, let's say, not usable and very complex architecture, we see that 70, which is really high percentage of data that we create and have and manage, gets unused. And from that perspective, this is just what's happening now. And if we look into the future, we see that this number will be drastically higher. So we expect that by 2025, there will be, each enterprise will have in average of 5 petabytes of data. But these are not just data we store and we somehow have, but this is data that we manage. This is the data that we know what it is. We deliberately keep it, so we know that we need that data. So as I said, this is not just all the data we have, but it's really huge quantity of data that we need to manage. And it's really a big challenge. So now how what are we going to do? So if we realize that the data is not just the new resource, but it's really the key for our new business models, so we should then ask the questions like, how fast can we really get everything from the data we need? How fast can we materialize not just some data, but let's say all the data we have and start bringing value? And also knowledge is very important. So it's not just the data that stands there, but also the people who have the knowledge to work with this data, to really get the best out of this data. So how fast can we enable these people to actually start using the data? So we kind of think that these two things will be really the focus. And in order to do that, we should no longer have all this, let's say, hectic architecture, but we should redesign like how we do and what is our strategy regarding data and analytics. So that's why IBM came with something we call AI ladder. So all the way we really want to be this AI company, the company that is really using this artificial intelligence, or as we call it, augmented intelligence. So intelligence that really supports us in every business process, in every business decision we make. And we realize this is really a journey. You cannot do nothing overnight, and at least nothing valuable and sustainable over the night. So you have to kind of grow up and go through all these phases of this cycle, of this process, of this ladder. And the first step will be really to collect all the data you can. And while you're collecting it, you might transform it, you may infuse some intelligence even there. An idea is to not just to collect it, but make it really accessible, make it simple to analyze, make it simple for these end users to understand what is it about. So once we collect it, it will still be a lot of data, and we need proper solutions to actually organize the data. So like to make a catalog of the data, to know which data is for what purposes, what is the quality of that data, who can access this data, does it have like sensitive information that we need to hide for some users, but also allow it for some other users. You know, who will actually give the access, who is responsible for this data, and who can say like, yes, I can give you my data set. Easy to find, easy to discover also. I have this database, people left, what is in my database? Let me discover items that are there. And once that we do that, once that we organize and actually make it easy to use by the business user, then we can start doing analysis, which is really doing maybe some BI, some analytics, reporting, some AI, some machine learning model. And it's important that we do not skip these two first steps prior to do that, because we need, for the good model, for the good result, for the good report, we need to trust this data. We need to know that it's correct, that the numbers are matching, how did we get this data, so everything should be really trustful and with transparency. And then again, this does not end our journey. So not just that we need to give certain people this information, like what is in my data, what insights have I found, but this should be really part of your day-to-day job. So you need to infuse this insight throughout all of your operation and business processes. So whether you are a call center and the results of all this analysis really are like some predictions or some segmentation of your customers or some insights of your customer. So it should not stay in some separate tool, but it should really be easy to infuse in all the applications that you do and create on top of your applications. And if you haven't heard so far for it, IBM has come with this concept of cloud packs. So this is one of them, Cloud Pack for Data. So what does it mean, pack? It means we do pack a lot of things together, but it's not, the pack is not actually the key word here. So what is actually Cloud Pack for Data? It's completely new platform, which is cloud native. So it's actually built on the containers, on the microservices. So everything we taught, all solutions on how to climb this AI ladder. So everything regarding collecting, organizing, infusing, analyzing data are actually plug and play these cubes on this platform. So all the solutions, some of them IBM, some of them are from our third party, from other vendors, are simple to use, simple to provision, to do this cloud native architecture and these microservices. So they are out of box, scalable, high availability, pre-integrated, once you set security, it works for all of the components of the solution. But the most important thing is this adoption of this solution within a business user. So it's all oriented to them. It kind of democratizes the data. So it's not just owned, I don't know, by IT or some my sector or other sector. It's now more than ever easy to have everyone in your organization benefit from the data. Whether they are just people like business user or there are various applications sitting in your organization. And as I said, actually, I didn't mention, but this is what if you heard, so IBM bought Red Hat, and this is actually really purposely built. This Cloud Pack for Data sits on this Red Hat OpenShift platform, which actually means that you can just pick it up and put it today in your data center behind the firewall, and tomorrow you can put it in any cloud center. So it's actually really architecture of the future. So as I said, working today on premise within your infrastructure, or even it can come in a box as a completely preset and pre-working, or tomorrow when we say, okay, now we finally trust this cloud, any cloud, we can just shift and lift it and make it work seamlessly without any modification on any other public cloud. And as you see, there are many parts of this architecture. So there are really a lot of various solutions, but it's actually end-to-end complete data and AI platform needed for any business. And I'm going to mention just two of these, let's say, little cubes. And these are solutions for analytics, for kind of reporting and dashboarding, calling Cognos, and planning analytics for planning and budgeting. And the colleague after me, Katerina, who is speaking, she will actually mention more about cubes related to AI, the solutions, and how do we actually work with this predictive analytics stuff in this solution. So as I said today, the focus of the time that I have left actually here, which is not much for this variety of topics we can cover regarding Cloud Pack for Data, will be really Cognos and planning analytics. These two solutions are kind of integrated, mixed together, have some common touching points. But with Cognos, we addressed challenges like the data are siloed, we have various data sources in our organization, data is complex, and we have to make it simple. And organizations have various needs, from pixel perfect reporting to mobile reporting, visualization, dashboards. And what we see as a trend is that more and more advanced AI features like pattern detections, discovering data points, understanding data through AI are actually infused in every solution. And planning analytics faces challenges like how I do my plans, how I understand what is in various, let's say, siloed again data, how I get rid of the errors that are very common in this process, and so on. But we'll speak more in detail on each solution. So if we are talking about, let's say, BI or business analytics or Cognos as a solution, we see that if we look throughout our organization, we see that there are several types of users. So we have business users who want something that is snap, that is easy to use, that doesn't require much of education, much of preparation, something that will help them very fast respond to questions, help them make some decisions, kind of drive, that solution should drive them through the discovery. And on the other hand, we have IT. So there is maybe not such a strict line between of them. We all work for the same cause, but IT has, again, to worry about some other stuff, like how modern is my architecture? I don't want to invest now something that I know that by technology will be obsolete in few years. I want to have strict governance and security. I need to apply to many country or wider regulations. So I need to know that my data is safe and protected. Shall I or shall I not use, and how shall I use open source technology? And then we have another smallest actually group, but still existing. We call them data scientists. So there are people who want more from data, who want to find hidden patterns, who know a little bit of coding or a lot, who knows what are the benefits of machine learning, who know this open source, to use open source technologies and so on. So we are actually kind of trying to merge all these demands in one. And whoever worked with any data solution in any company knows that these are not simple projects, that even it looks on the outside, okay, just few tables, I will do this very easily. It's not like that. So data hides really a lot of stuff. And once you dig in, you understand that, we need to collaborate. We need to have kind of process. How will I prepare reports? Who will validate them? So it often gets, pinged request from one person, one position to another, and so on. And it also slows down the implementation of such projects. Or we have actually various tools. So at the end, we come up with a solution that gives all the answers you need in just one place. And this actually transforms how we make decisions. So we first, as I said, need to collect and organize the data. And then we ask our analysts, our business people ask some kind of 100 questions, let's say, per day. And we hope that these 100 questions with analysis, with digging into data, will get us 10 insightful discoveries. Like, I don't know, my sales increased when I did this and that. I don't know, costs decreased when I did this and that. So these are then 10 insightful discoveries that I take from my data. And then I take some actions based on these discoveries. And, they let's say, influence some 10 decisions. So I will maybe reorganize my sales staff. I will do some inventory changes to make my cost less, and so on. And then we can really measure hundreds of outcomes, all the measures that can increase from this cycle of decisions. And you can see that there is really direct connection between good and proper analysis and something that can be measured as an outcome. So we do not do analysis for the sake of analysis, but really we have the valuable measured outcomes at the end. So how do we do this in our solution? In Cognos Analytics, we focus a lot of automated data preparation. IBM invests a lot in natural language search. So for now, it's actually reserved for some languages, not for all of them. But still, if you know English, you can type, where are the data of my customers? Give me everything that I need to analyze sales orders. In that language, you ask the solution and it will provide you the best stuff. We'll try to do modeling for you based on all the characteristics of your data and also based on all the history of analysis we did today. And you do this preparation within a tool. So there is no like additional tools or additional places where you need to go. And then when we ask and discover these questions, we are really now, when we are doing this data exploration, we are heavily relying on AI assistant. So on artificial intelligence who finds hidden patterns within your data. So do you know that, for example, in this store, the average number, if you have, for example, loyalty cards, the average number of the average age of your loyal customer is, let's say, over 70, which is anomaly related to all the other data. So maybe you would know that, and this will be already known fact, but maybe this will be the fact that you didn't come up even in your, let's say, you didn't get the idea to explore that. So the solution will not just give you correct numbers and various ways to combine these numbers, but will also do under the hood the things that will support you in analyzing data. So for example, you did one analysis and then he guides you, he gives you 10 more related analysis that will may be interesting for you. And then, as I said, once you find these insights, you also need to kind of share it to make it understandable and visible to the rest of the organization. So we have best of class dashboards for all of the visualization you can find in internet. We can just you can use ours pre-built, or you can use any open source visualization. You can present your data in a storytelling way, so not just some kind of dashboard, but it's really like a story, like a presentation to your clients or managers. And still, it could be that you still need managed reporting. So it looks like we already grow all this and we know how to distribute the data across our company, but it's still very challenging, and it will be challenging to in the future with all this data to have proper managed reporting, pixel perfect reporting that can be distributed in any manner, in any format, with any predefined security and so on. And then again, as I said, it influences a lot of decisions and a lot of measurable outcomes. And it's not just that. We can go beyond this, what we call and we know as BI today. So we can use open source tools within solution like Jupyter Notebooks. We can integrate, so we can enrich our data with planning data, with optimization data, with optimal prices, with optimal workforce schedule, and so on. And also with these tools for solutions for machine learning. And we really are highly focused on this area. We are doing continuous innovations. So we deliver every quarterly new solution. So we quickly react to what our customers are asking. We have open concept where everyone can suggest what he needs, what would be really good and useful in a solution. We have a voting system. We really take advantages of new technology, everything that comes in the market. So if you have quarter releases, then you are really up in the trend of everything that happens within a market. And we really, as I said, invest and really speed up the new things that we deliver to our clients. And how can you get our solution? So the main benefit is that it is actually part of this overall data platform, Cloud Pak for Data. So you just plug and play, you just provision it like you would do any cloud service. You can try it for free for 30 days. You can have it in your data center as a separate solution, or you can have it in our cloud with the kind of hosted or on-demand service that you can really start even from a single user license, paid monthly, so you do not are locked in this, let's say, huge investment. So you can get started very, very easily. Okay, let me see how much time. Okay, not much. So I'll just mention the planning. So more than ever, we know that we can be, anything had happened, everything had happened. So we need our plans to be really accurate and really reflect the fast change that is happening in the world. So far we did planning with a lot of spreadsheets, tsunami of spreadsheets in every company. Few persons know actually what is going on. We have various data sources and so on. So it was really error-prone, slow process, not interactive, not feasible to do it more often than once a year and so on. So, and it was like siloed. So marketing was doing their own plan, sales their own. Somehow they send it to the finance, it get calculated, but actually only good decisions you can make with integrated plans. So only when I align all the plans from all of my departments and see how each change influences every other plan, then I can actually have true and proper planning process. And this planning analytics is a solution that you can use in various, let's say, initiatives, in various, not just planning, but everything related to planning. So it can be workforce planning. When will I hire? Who will I hire? Like, what licenses do I have, and how will I manage my IT budget from IT? Like, how do I optimize my demand planning, my supply chain? So there is no actually part of your organization that cannot be part of this integrated planning process. And these are just, you will have this presentation. So these are all scenarios where you can use planning in your organization. An idea is that it should be fast, it should be performant. You would not have to, so for example, you want to increase some price, or you want to enter the new product on the market, or close some products, or open, or let's say I will move my sale, I don't know, my sales split was 50-50, 50 on online, 50 on store sale. Now I want to change it to 70-30. So this change should be really in real time. Immediately you change the percentage, you will see the impact it has, whether it's top, bottom, or bottom up on all of your data. And despite of being really this fast in-memory engine, we do not tell you Excel will be, you will get rid of Excel. No, you can still use Excel as a front end, which our customers are used to, but they can use also top of the class, we call it workbenches, so workspaces where you can put modern visualizations and do a lot of self-service by yourself. So idea is that you are really independent in this process. Okay, I will speed because I maybe talked about it. And then again, how can you start using it? So we have really, like 90-day full trial, which is really very valuable for you, that you can have full product capabilities. You can try by yourself to make a simple plan, to upload your Excel and start from that. And then once after these 90 days, you can still continue to use if you still would like to keep the solution. Again, it is part of this IBM Cloud Cloud Pak for Data. Is a bigger platform. We can host it in our cloud, so standard software as a service, or you can have it again in your data center as on-premise solution. So I will finish with these 2 slides. So the best thing you learn and best thing you can feel the tool is to try to use these trials. As I said, they are quite easy to provision, quite easy to use, with full set of capabilities for this period of time that is stressed here. I don't know, I will stay thank you for your attention. I will stay again like in this booth session for the chat, so we can chat and we can talk a bit more. If you have any questions about solution, you also have my email as a contact, so you are free really to contact me to if you have any questions or you would like additional information. So again, thanks a lot, and talk to you in a bit.
Thank you very much, Nina. It was very interesting to listen to your presentation. I think our participants, our attendees are also glad that we had the opportunity to bring you to our online conference, to the RSD days. Indeed, information is power, data is power, but if you don't know how to use it and you don't have the tools to make the analysis of this data, then there is not much to do with it. So this is why thank you very much for the provided information. And information for all the attendees is that we are going to deliver the presentations on our YouTube channel, so they can hear information later on. And double check the data. Meanwhile, they can reach you in the IBM booth and over there to have a chat directly. Thank you very much. And now I will give the floor to Katarina. Hello, Katarina.
Hello.
Thank you for being with us. We will continue our presentations from the IBM related to how we can use data and what can we do with the data in order to do forecasts, in order to do analysis, and to have a successful business and a successful work of our employees. So thank you for being with us. The floor is yours. You can start your presentation.
Okay, thank you, Elena. So first, I would like to welcome all the participants that are joining this session. My name is Katarina. I'm working in IBM as a specialist for data science for the last 7 years. So working with clients on data science challenges, on how to embed data science and AI into their processes. And also I'm working on the broader analytics architecture. So today my session is going to be mainly focused on what are the AI capabilities and the data science capabilities within Cloud Pak for Data. So let me share my screen. Now you should be able to see my presentation. So if we start, yes, okay. So if I just refer to the presentation Nina had earlier, so she was talking about this era that is really data-centric because there is a lot of push, to analyze data more deeply and to find some patterns and extracts in this data. And, there are different analyses done by, interviewing top CEOs and, other stakeholders in the companies. And there are actually 2 important outcomes that come from these interviews. One is that 80% of decision makers really agree that one of the key challenges we have today is integration of the processes and data across the organization. From my experience, when clients start to work on data science and AI, they usually spend most of the time reading data from the different repositories. So this kind of integration to simplify self-service to the data can speed up such analysis. And then the second important area is that 84% of global executives says that, they won't achieve growth without scaling AI. Actually, Forrester report says that organizations that are scaling AI across their enterprise are really 7 times more likely to be the leading businesses in their industry. So this is why introducing AI is very important in the organizations. And when we talk about the analytics challenges today, actually one of the 3 key challenges that we see in analytics, or how would I say, actually one of the 3 key initiatives is, one of them is automated AI lifecycle. 3 initiatives are, one is data modernization and how to simplify access to the data, which I already mentioned. The second one is data ops and the governance. So how can we make sure that the data we are accessing is accurate, is of good quality, so that we can trust it and we can use it for our analysis. And then the third one, which I'm going to spend more time today on, is automated AI lifecycle. So there are different challenges that exist when organizations try to address this. One is, of course, lack of skills. Then, the second question is, how do I really operationalize my AI? Because, we talk a lot about using models, and building models using all these fancy machine learning techniques, but at the end, it really matters that, we can deliver results to the business processes. And at the end, when we deliver these results to the business processes or knowledge workers, that they can trust the information or the decision that was made by a model. So this is all, these are the crucial areas of the automated AI lifecycle. So Nina already mentioned the AI ladder, which in IBM we see as the prescriptive approach to journey of AI. So we first should be able to collect the data from different repositories. We should be able to organize the data, simplify data access, and make trusted data available to the users. And then we can start analyzing the data using different machine learning techniques or statistical techniques. And, at the end, really infuse AI into the processes with trust and transparency. And Cloud Pak for Data as a solution is actually addressing this overall life cycle of analytics. So from collecting, connecting, and accessing to the data, to providing a governed environment for users where they can shop for the data and they can self-service access to the data, as well as understand what is the data quality, to all the different tools that we provide in order to build predictive and prescriptive models, as well as enable those models to be deployed and monitored for trust and transparency. So Nina before was talking about planning and business analytics, which are the other capabilities that are, of course, available in Cloud Pak for Data. But I think one crucial thing to know is that Cloud Pak for Data really unifies this overall analytics lifecycle. And the goal of Cloud Pak for Data is really to eliminate data silos, so to connect to all data easily, to provide governance to the data, and to really operationalize AI with trust and transparency. And besides, Cloud Pak for Data as a platform provides no lock-in really, because you can have it in your data center, or you can deploy Cloud Pak for Data on basically any cloud infrastructure providers that runs Red Hat OpenShift underneath. So I mentioned, simplified access to the data, which is one of the crucial things if we want really to go into data analysis and, find patterns in the data. And on the other side, I talked about automated AI lifecycle. So if I just briefly mention, there is one fundamental technology available in Cloud Pak for Data, which we call data virtualization. And why I want to mention this is because data virtualization is really the capability with within Cloud Pak for Data that makes the difference as it enables us that we connect to different data sources and create kind of a computational mesh across those data sources, so that we can, get data more quickly, that we really minimize data movements, because most of the data processing, as opposed to the classic federation, is done on the data node itself. And on the other side, it maximizes data movement because the access to the data is simplified. And then the second area, which is important, and I will now spend the rest of the minutes discussing this into more details, is how do we really deliver data science and AI into the business? And you are probably very well aware on, the process of continuous delivery of applications. When we, get new requirements and engagement, we develop new functionalities, we test those functionalities, we, deploy that, and then, we collect the data on the usage, which produces new requirements and engagement and so on. So this is this continuous developing, let's say, DevOps cycle on the applications. And on the other side, the process is very similar when we are trying to embed AI into our organizations. So if we map that process, I would say, first we start with, business problem, and then we start to look at, how can we access the data that can help us to solve this business problem. We then go, acquiring the data, or, use self-service capabilities to really access the data we need for our analysis. Then we go on refining the data, and this is usually the step where most of the time is spent in the whole process, because we need to, join different data together, clean it, prepare it for our specific analysis. And then we start with really model design and then model deployment, which then, once the models are deployed in our processes, brings us to a very important step, which is monitoring of the model's performance. And, once we see that model's performance is decreasing, really retraining the models. And, once we build a model is not forever. So monitoring part is really an important area that we need to follow. Okay, so if we go into more details on the AI lifecycle automation and how can we really operationalize AI, so Cloud Pak for Data really provides all these key capabilities for data science teams and organizations to do that and bring this process into reality. So first, there are, I would say, 4 important steps. One is the data preparation step. The second one is build step. The third one is run and deploy steps. And the third one is really management of the process. So if we go to the first step, here we really talk about data. So different capabilities that we provide, on data governance, monitoring and checking what is the quality of the data we access, data profiling capabilities, and lineage capabilities, so that before we start the analysis, we are sure our data is organized in a correct way, and that also once we use this data, the results we're going to get are really going to reflect the accurate state. So then, once we have access to the data, we go into the build phase. So there we need to usually do a lot of ad hoc data preparation, joining different data sources together, explore the data, checking data quality, repairing data quality, and preparing data for analysis, as well as using different types of machine learning techniques to really find patterns in our data and to really find insights that we want to use to make smarter decisions. And once our models are built, we go into the third phase, which is run. We also call this, sometimes you're going to hear machine learning operations. So when we talk about machine learning operations and deployment, here it's really about deploying the model into the processes. This can mean, for example, a weekly or monthly execution of your model against your data warehouse tables, and then, for example, storing results into some other table, or it can be actually directly integrating your model with your end applications. Let's say that you are a bank and you want to simplify your loan approval process, and you have a model. So, let's say that I'm a client that comes to a bank, I tell to the agent all the different, things I'm interested in the loan, my data, and then let's imagine, the agent has capabilities to really insert the data very quickly, and then, run the score to get information whether my loan can be approved instantly. So in this way, we can really, deploy models using REST APIs into the processes. And there are many, many other use cases how we can do that. And then the fourth part is really managing the model. So it's important for models to be trustworthy and to be explainable. So, if we really want, let me take an example of a loan model. If we really want a loan model to be deployed in the organization, we need to make sure that knowledge workers understand how this model works. So we don't want a model that is a black box that just gives us a decision and then this decision is, used. We want to be sure that our model is fair. So it's not being inaccurate towards a certain group of people, let's say, according to age, according to sex, or according to some other parameters. So we want our model to be fair, and we want to make sure we understand how the decisions were made. So these are this fairness and explainability, which then, provides trust. And the managed layer really provides us, with the capabilities to manage fairness, to manage explainability, and, also some key parameter indicators. So now if I go from these conceptual parts to the exact services we offer in Cloud Pak for Data, I want to mention Watson Studio and Watson Machine Learning. Watson Studio is a development environment where data scientists can really work on their analysis, data preparation, model building, using a variety of different tools. So on one side, we really provide tools for expert data scientists that are programmers that wants to work in R and Python. So we provide these open source tools with R Studio, Jupyter Notebooks, as well as capability to really work with many different supported machine learning frameworks. But on the other side, there are citizen data scientists that have good business knowledge, but would prefer visual graphical interfaces to build their models. And here we also offer various tools such as SPSS Modeler to graphically put your model together, as well as we're providing AutoAI. AutoAI is actually a tool that automates most of the model development process. So if we take a look at model development process, usually you need to do data cleansing, feature engineering, model selection, parameter optimization, model validation, and so on. And most of these tasks are actually automated by AutoAI. So it simplifies and fastens your development process, as well as, makes the experimentation more efficient. So this is around Watson Studio, really a lot of different tools there. And then we have Watson Machine Learning, which is a deployment part of our platform. So Watson Machine Learning enables us that we deploy our models to be executed on a regular basis, as well as to deploy our models for, let's say, on-demand execution, where they can be deployed and integrated with your applications through REST APIs. So before I go to the monitoring part, which is the last part for me, so just to mention that Watson Studio and Watson Machine Learning really embed a lot of open source capabilities. As I mentioned, we support Jupyter and R, as well as many different machine learning model frameworks like scikit-learn, TensorFlow, Keras. So if you are more into data science, you're going to recognize this. So open source is really infused into the Cloud Pak for Data platform. As well as I mentioned, we bring additional capabilities on top. such as the visual tools for improved productivities. This can accelerate your return on investment and time to value. Then we have decision optimization, where we can actually, optimize our decisions. And this is really valuable when you bring predictive analytics to your and optimization together, because predictive analytics and machine learning models gives you predictions, but decision optimization will really tell you what to do. So if you have constraints, so you have a limited budget, you have a limited channels through which you want to send your offers, decision optimization is going to tell you which offer to send through which channel in order that you're going to get better return on investment. And I will finish my presentation with, I mentioned that, the model development cycle is really broad. So we develop the model, we deploy the model, then we need to monitor the model. So I just want to finish with this model monitoring. So once we develop models, usually, after some time, we really want to monitor whether there is drift in the models in terms of, reducing model quality, whether there is bias in our models towards a certain group, whether, the models provide explainability. And this is all achieved and possible through Watson OpenScale, which is the monitoring area. So together, Watson Studio as the development environment, Watson Machine Learning as the deployment environment, and Watson OpenScale as the tool for, really operationalize AI by providing monitoring, and with this trust and transparency. They're all integrated within Cloud Pak for Data, so they can offer seamless experience to the organizations that really want to embed AI into the processes. And I want just to finish with the slide that Watson was recently in Q3 also named leader in Forrester Wave for the multimodal predictive analytics, where multimodal basically means we are really addressing a wide variety of users that are involved in the model building process. So from programmers to visual users. So with this, I'm going to conclude my presentation. I hope that this presentation was useful to you. I'm going to be available in the booth in case you have any questions, and also there are my contact details available, and I'm happy to help.
Thank you very much, Katarina, for your presentation.